As Salamu Alaikum, brothers and sisters. Today, we will not be discussing any prophet story, but talk about a pressing issue that is gripping the world, which is atheism. Atheism, as you all might know about it, is an ideology that refutes the presence of God and rejects the hereafter. To atheists, everything requires proof, and since according to them, there is no proof of God's existence, therefore, they don't believe in Him. In this video, I will be addressing this question not from religious books and scriptures only, but from science and logic as well. In 2017, famous writer Dan Brown wrote a novel called Origin, in which the central idea revolved around a staunch atheist who is assassinated while trying to explain to the world that God doesn't exist. The theory that he presents is basically derived from an experiment that was performed by two scientists, Miller and Urey, in 1952, in which they simulated conditions that were thought to be present at the time when Earth was created, and came up with the synthesis of organic compounds from inorganic ones. Let's get into the detail now. In the experiment, they put methane, ammonia, and hydrogen in a sealed flask in a certain ratio with water, and a current was passed through that resulted in the formation of amino acids. This discovery at that time was groundbreaking and caused a major shift in how people began to perceive the concept of God. However, the above experiment utilized methane and other compounds, which themselves are combinations of different elements, such as nitrogen and hydrogen. And although these elements are found in nature, they too have their sources from where they are obtained. Now, these sources must also have originated at some point, and they too might have had their sources of origin. But when we keep going back, we will come to a point when there would be nothing at all. Now imagine this. We are talking about that time when there was nothing in the universe. Not the skies, nor the planets, or anything else. How did they all come into existence then, from nothing at all? The first law of thermodynamics states that energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, but can be converted from one form to another. Now, scientists argue that the universe was created by Big Bang. But if that theory too follows the first law of thermodynamics, which it should, it would have been just a conversion of energy from one source to another. But with nothing around to harvest that energy and cause the Big Bang, how did everything come into existence? Of course, there would be a divine power who would have initiated the creation of the heavens and the earth, and perhaps the Big Bang would be a result of that process. Even from an Islamic perspective, it is possible that the universe came into existence from a single point of immensely high density and temperature, as in the Big Bang. But again, there must have been a starting point that came from nothing and which was caused by Allah Almighty. Even the topmost atheists, such as Stephen Hawking and Neil deGrasse Tyson, have been unable to answer regarding the creation of the universe from nothing. Atheists and cosmologists who reject Allah may argue that there still must be a scientific backing which hasn't been figured out yet, and perhaps they might not be wrong in a way. After all, as stated in Surah Al-Imran, verse 190, indeed, in the creation of the heavens and the earth, and the alternation of the day and night, there are signs for people of reason. This ayah signifies that Allah has created reasoning in the creation of the universe, and it is not without logic. Therefore, applying scientific theories in this context may not be wrong, but rather encouraged, provided no such theory rejects the existence of Allah Almighty. Coming to another topic regarding the concept of afterlife, obviously, when atheists deny God's existence, they also don't believe in the concept of coming back to life on the Day of Judgment. Now imagine this. A person who is mentally or physically handicapped in this world, or suffering from even worse, would one day pass away miserably thinking that there is nothing waiting for him out there that would recompensate his suffering in this world. Naturally, with these thoughts in mind, one would think of committing suicide at the smallest of troubles, and studies do suggest that atheists tend to have higher rates of suicide as they are devoid of the concept of compensation in the afterlife. However, those who believe in Allah and remain steadfast and patient despite their suffering have been promised with rewards beyond measure, as mentioned in Surah Az-Zumar, verse 10. Atheists also ask for proof of Allah's existence, and from this statement, they presumably expect to see Him sitting on His throne high up in the heavens. Do you see the mistakes in this demand of theirs? First of all, none of Allah's creations has ever seen Him, as no eyes possess such capability. If we were able to see Him, everyone would have believed in Him, and there would be no point of creating hell. He has created His signs for us to believe in Him. Secondly, we have been able to access only a minor part of this universe, and Allah's throne rests atop the seventh heaven. Even if Allah granted us the capability to see Him directly, how would we reach Him in the first place? A growing number of Muslims nowadays are turning to atheism over their daily unanswered prayers. But how do we know what's the best for us? For example, someone wishes for $1 million and miraculously gets it via inheritance or lottery or some other way. Another person wishes for $1 million but gets nothing. However, he narrowly survives an accident that would have caused him $1 million in surgeries and medical treatment. A third person also wishes for $1 million, but neither gets them nor is saved from any such calamity. However, on the day of judgment, when he is brought before Allah, he is surprised to see a mountain of good deeds in front of him. When he asks Allah, He replies that these are the $1 million that he didn't receive in this world, as they were not in his best interests then. But since he remained patient, they are now here in the form of his good deeds. So, brothers and sisters, believe in Him and His decisions, for we don't know what's best for us, and keep making dua. As mentioned above, no valid dua is rejected by Him and will be compensated in one way or the other, if not granted directly in this world. If you like this video, please share it with others as well. May Allah guide us all and make us steadfast in our beliefs. Ameen.